A closer look at a shocking incident where a human relationship with a wild animal went horribly wrong. In February at SeaWorld, a 22-foot killer whale nicknamed Tilly fatally attacked his trainer in front of horrified spectators. Well, today, the results of a 6-month government investigation cited the park for a, quote, willful violation of workplace safety, an accusation that is backed up by similar charges from a whistleblower. Yunji Denise has our report.
With 17 years at SeaWorld, Dawn Brancheau knew what she was doing and loved every minute of it.
She talked about her whole life. She knew she wanted to work with the animals, and SeaWorld was her dream.
The 40-year-old was living that dream. In this home video shot moments before her death, she playfully feeds Tilikum treats. But just minutes later, the 6-ton whale would grab hold of her ponytail and drag her to her death.
Came back around to the glass, jumped up, and grabbed the trainer by the waist and started shaking her violently, and her shoe, last thing we saw was her shoe floating.
SeaWorld's policy was not to allow trainers in the water with this whale because of its violent past. In 1991, before coming to Orlando, Tilikum drowned another trainer at a park in Canada.
The whale grabbed her back foot and pulled her under.
Immediately, there were questions about these images. That's Brancheau clearly lying in a pool of water side by side with a 22-foot-long whale. Government investigators have spent the last 6 months trying to figure out what went wrong. Today, they slapped SeaWorld with a $75,000 fine, saying that while the park recognized the inherent risk of allowing trainers to interact with potentially dangerous animals, nonetheless, it required its employees to work within the pool walls, on ledges, and on shelves where they were subject to dangerous behavior by the animals. It's a claim echoed by Linda Simons today on Good Morning America. The park's former director of health and safety was on the scene when Brancheau died.
I felt the team members were being placed in danger. And when they finally got Tilikum in the medical pool and lifted him up, team members were permitted to go into the pool to take Dawn out of Tilikum's mouth as he was still thrashing about.
SeaWorld dismissed Simon's claims, saying she was recently fired for poor performance and accused her of using the threat of negative publicity to seek a sizable monetary payment from SeaWorld in exchange for her not going public. The company called OSHA's charges unfounded and unsupported by any evidence or precedent. They say their trainers are among the most skilled, trained, and committed zoological professionals in the world today. Back in February, we met the man who brought Tilikum to Orlando and trained Brancheau. Today, he maintains that SeaWorld did nothing wrong.
Dawn, for a split second, made a critical error. She allowed her ponytail to drift into the water in front of the killer whale's mouth, and he grabbed her by the ponytail and pulled her in the pool. Who are you going to blame? Do you blame the whale? Is SeaWorld supposed to think of every single issue on how to keep people safe? These are things that happen. Now, if SeaWorld wasn't going to learn anything from this, but I know that's not the case, then they would be at fault. But they are going to learn from it.
But another former trainer who worked with both Tilikum and Brancheau believes otherwise.
Do you think that SeaWorld is responsible for Dawn Brancheau's death?
This is all about a calculated risk for them. There's a cumulative death and injury record. SeaWorld took the risk, the benefits were deemed to outweigh the risk, and they chose to continue putting trainers in front of animals like Tilikum, and unfortunately, someone like Dawn loses her life. In my way of thinking, I don't see how SeaWorld is not culpable in this tragic event.
Why do you think SeaWorld is willing to take that calculated risk?
First of all, being a killer whale trainer, everybody wants to be a trainer. So, trainers are basically disposable items. There's a long line of people behind you to replace you. SeaWorld knows that putting people in the water sells tickets. This is all about a money-making endeavor. This is SeaWorld's Nike swoosh. This is what SeaWorld does. This is how they sell tickets at the gate. And so for SeaWorld, they know that there's a serious risk of injury or death, but they make a heck of a lot of money taking that risk, and the benefit is that it pays handsomely.
SeaWorld has not allowed trainers back into the water with any killer whales since the attack. Lasinik says whales and the trainers depend on that interaction.
We've been able to develop these great relationships with them where they work with the trainers, and it's a symbiotic, relationship. I mean, the trainers can get in the water with them and do all these amazing behaviors, and we need to continue to learn more about that.
If trainers are allowed back in the water with killer whales at SeaWorld parks, there will be other injuries and or deaths.
OSHA has given SeaWorld 15 days to pay up. SeaWorld is challenging the fine, and so for now, the show and the fight goes on. I'm Yunji Denise for Nightline in Washington.